Yep. Everybody has joined, so we can start now. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Any question in the previous visualizations? Anyone? Okay, we'll start. Give me a moment. Yeah. So in the previous session, we have seen the bar diagrams, pie charts, donuts, I think cards, then tree map, then table, metrics, and decomposition tree. These are the things that we have seen. Okay. So let me load the financial sample. Yeah. So in case of the bar diagram, there is one specific scenario which I didn't tell you. Let's see that. So in usually in Access, whenever we pull the non-numeric column, okay, for example, textual columns usually, then in that case, the visualization is prepared directly, right? So in that case, it just shows the textual values on the x-axis and the numerical values on the y-axis. But if you take the date column on the axis, then you get two options, because in Power BI we have two options for date. One is we can either use the date hierarchy, that means a date hierarchy object which has year, quarter, month, and day in it. So it works like a 4-in-1 visualization. The second option that I have is my plain date. So in case of plain date, your plain date behaves like your text column values. So for every date, a separate value or a separate data point can be plotted. Okay, so that is something which we will see it here now. So I'll select this clustered column chart. Okay, and within that clustered column chart, I take sales and I put it in the value section. And then I take the date and I put it in the axis section. Now observe what happens when you add the date in the axis column. If you carefully look into the axis column, what is happening right now is, in case of this, it has taken the date hierarchy. And in case of date hierarchy, as you remember, date hierarchy is an object which stores the date in the following fashion. First is year, then quarter, then month, and then day. So here you can see carefully that in this financial sample, we have data for only 2 years, 2013 and 14. That is why it has plotted the data for 2013 and 14, and it is showing us in this visualization, in this bar diagram. Okay. Now, apart from this visualization, there is one more thing that you will see here, like these buttons. So these buttons is what we call it as the drill down buttons. Okay. So with the help of drill down button, I can drill down and I can see the next level object in the hierarchy. For example, the next level object here is quarter, then month, and then day. So that is why I said this is like a 4-in-1 visualization. For example, I'm in 2013 and 14. Now I want to see the data for 2014 at the next level. For example, I want to see all the quarters of 2014. So for that, you can enable this drill down button. Whenever you enable this drill down button, what will happen is whenever you click on any single data point, okay, it will only show the detail for that specific data point. For example, if I click on this 2014, it will only show me the quarters of 2014. It will ignore the quarters of 2013. Okay, so let me click here. So I'm going to click now. As you can see, it is showing you 4 quarters: 2014 quarter 4, 2014 quarter 3, 2014 quarter 2, and 2014 quarter 1. These are the 4 quarters that you get, okay, from the clicking of 2014. Now let's say I'm at quarter 1 2014. I click on it. So usually in quarter 1 we have 3 months, Jan, Feb, and March. So it will only show me the respective sales for Jan, Feb, March for 2014. So I click on it. As you can see, it is showing me January 2014, February 2014, and March 2014. Okay, so like these three details it is actually showing, and if I click on the January month, it will show me all the days of January. So in this case we have only one day in January, that's why it is showing the first January. Okay, and if I want to move up, okay, so for that I have given this option, drill up option. So when I click on this drill up option, I will move up one level. So when I click on up now, I will move to month. When I move up now, I will move to quarter, and when I click on up now, I will move to year. So this drill down button will make sure, okay, or this drill down button will enable the drill down option. So that means you'll have to click on a data point and it will only show you the data for that data point. Okay, any questions? Yeah, moving on. The second option is I don't want to click on the data point. For example, I don't want to click on this 2014 or 2013, but I still want to see the next level data. So if you still want to see the next level data without clicking, this is the second option that you have. Expand all down one level in the hierarchy. So when you click on this, the next level in this date hierarchy is quarter. So the moment I click on this, you will see the quarter wise data for all the years. So I have 2013 and I have 2014. That is why I can see the quarter wise data for both 2013 and 14. When I click on this button again, it will show me all the months for 2013 and 14. So when I click on this, so all the months starting from quarter 3 September to quarter 4 December for 2014, all the months are shown. And when I click on the next level, I see the days. So these are my days, 1st September to 1st December. Okay, so in this case, I didn't have to click on any specific data point. It was showing me the information for all the data points. Okay, and if I want to move up, I can click on this drill up button. So next is month, then from month to quarter, and from quarter to year. So this is the second option which is possible in terms of date hierarchy. Now the next option that is possible is, let's say I want to see the consolidated data at the next level. For example, in this visualization, I see 2013 year wise data, 2014 year wise sales data. But in the next level, what I want to see is I want to see the quarter 4 total sales. Okay, where I want the quarter sales for all the years. Okay, quarter wise sales for all the years. Then I want month wise sales for all the years and so on. So consolidated information. So for that, you can use this option, go to the next level in the hierarchy. So when I click on this, go to next level in hierarchy here, you can see quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, and quarter 4. Now, in case of quarter 4, it is showing you the data of 2013 quarter 4 plus 2014 quarter 4. Similar is the case for other quarters. So this is not showing you one year data. This is showing you the consolidated data quarter wise for all the years present in this data. When I click on the next level here, I will see all the Jan to December months here. There is no month for 2013 and 14 as such. This is the consolidated month wise sales from Jan to December. And when I click on this, it will show me the month day wise data for all the years. Okay, so that is how this is. So if I want to go up, I can click on drill up, drill up, drill up. Yeah, and I'm back to my visualization. Okay, so in this case, you can see because of the drill down options, we can see the information with respect to year, quarter, month, and day in the same visualization. That is also possible. But let's say I'm not interested in seeing this drill down option. I'm not interested in seeing this expand one level option. I don't want to see this button. I just want to plot the data date wise, like we usually do in text columns. Okay, so for that, you have to click on this drop down here and select the date from here. So when you click on that drop down and when you select the date, it will plot the bar for every day. So here this is 1st September, then 1st October, and the last is I think 1st December. So like that, it will plot it and it will show you the details. Okay, so these are the two options you have when you use date in your access column. Anybody has any questions? Okay, moving on. Now, the reason we covered this is because I wanted to show you the next visualization. So the next visualization that we are going to see is line chart. Okay, the objective of line chart is to show the trend. So whenever there is this mention of the keyword trend over time, time series, time, then in that case we usually go for line chart and area chart. Line chart and area chart usually is used to show the trend of the data, how the data is moving up, how the data is moving down. If I want to show that type of information, then in that case I have the line chart. Now in case of line chart, if I use the date hierarchy, the object which I showed you, quarter, month, year, day, it will always show you a straight line. It will never be able to show you the trend. So in order to see the trend, you'll have to use the actual date value, then only you will see the trend. Okay, so this is the visualization for line chart. You can click on this line chart from here, and within this line chart you can draw the pattern. So from here, let me select date and let me select sales. So when you select date and sales, you can see by default the date hierarchy has been taken into the axis column. And in this case, you can see the drill down buttons, plus what it has done is it has plotted the data for 2013. It has plotted the data for 2014, and it has just connected the dots. That is how it is showing you the information. But in this case, we are not able to properly analyze how the trend is. So for that reason, we never use date hierarchy here. We always use the date. Okay, so in here now you can see with respect to every date, it is showing us the trend, when the data is going up, when the data is going down, which month we are picking up, which month we have reached higher value, highest value, like those type of details I can easily see in my line chart. That is why this line chart is plotted and used. Okay, you can use this legend field also, but legend will split this data, and usually in case of line charts we hardly put 1 or 2 lines, not more than that, because after 2 lines it will be very difficult to analyze. That's why we don't use this legend field. But yes, we can use this secondary value field. Okay, so I'll show you the usage of secondary value. So in this case we have plotted the total sales and total sales by date. So it is showing us the trend of total sales over time, over date period. Now, in this case, let's say I want to show the gross sales. So if I want to show the gross sales, I can drag this gross sales and I can put it in this value section. So your value section can handle this very easily. Okay, so you can see sales and gross sales are shown at the same level. So no issues so far. Similar to this, if I pull profit here, what happens is your profit is in max to max 1 or 2 million, but your sales is usually at least above 5 million, 6 million, 10 million, and so on. So in that case, if I want to show the profit at the same level, like at the higher level, like my sales, I have been given this secondary value option. So what happens when you add this secondary value is a separate y-axis is created on the right hand side, and the second value is actually plotted based on this right hand side axis. Okay, so for example, if I drag this profit to the secondary value section, see what happens. So in case of this, you can see on the right hand side there is a new axis called as profit. Okay, and all the profit values are plotted based on this right hand side axis, and all the sales values, they are plotted based on the left hand side. Okay, so this is the use of your secondary value. Okay, so usually when you have difference in scale and you're not able to plot it, then in that case you can use this secondary value option. Okay, so this is your line chart. In case of line chart, there is one more option which we called as forecast. So if you want, you can forecast how the line is going to behave for the next 10 points or next 12 points by going into this analytics tab and selecting the forecast. But for forecast button or the forecast to appear, you should only have one single line. The moment you add 2 lines, it will not appear. Okay, so let me go to analytics, and here you will see the forecast option. If you see, this is my forecast option. So when I click on forecast and when I see add, it will add the forecast for the 10 points. So usually in here I have data from 1st September to 1st December 2014. So when I say 10 data points, it will show me the data for next 10 points. That means 1st October 2015. So if you see here, the last point here is 1st October 2014. So basically, in case of forecast, it takes into the consideration some machine learning algorithm in the backend, and based on that it does the forecasting, and based on that forecasting it shows us the data. Okay, so here if you scroll down, you can see the length of the points, total number of data points that you want. Okay, so you can select the data points from here. You can control the points, like how many points to skip, what should be the confidence interval, what should be the seasonality, all those things you can control it from there. Okay, but usually that part is not used because machine learning algorithm doesn't have to work all the time with the help of this. So in that case you can use it. Okay, so in that case it will automatically calculate it and it will change it. Okay, so for example, if I change this to 12, that means it will give me the visualization for uh, next 12 points. Confidence interval, I'll just reduce it to 90, and I'll introduce seasonality to 2, and I click on apply. So you can see the distortions are introduced, and then that is how the data is plotted. Okay, this forecasting option will only appear, okay, only when you have a single line. When you have two lines, it will never appear. Okay, so that is about the forecasting in line chart. Okay, and small multiples we have already seen, so I'll just remove forecast. And small multiples was something which we have already covered. If I add something in the small values, it will prepare multiple subgraphs. So for example, if I use discount band here, it will prepare 4 small graphs. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. These are the 4 small graphs for high, medium, low, and discount band, non-discount band values. Any questions here in the line chart?
In secondary access, can we use a bar chart instead of line chart?
No. It will always be what I would say, uh, line chart. So yeah.
Mhm. And what if you want to merge the two charts, like in a single graph, if you want line chart and a bar chart both?
You see my cursor?
Yes.
Yeah.
Line and plus. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Understood.
That's the option.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on. Now, in case of line chart, always remember you're able to see the trend. But when I want to understand the volumes, then in that case, understanding the volume becomes a bit difficult in line chart. For example, in your stock market, when you get the data, it becomes very difficult to read that data, right? Like when the data, when the stock is high, when the stock is low, those type of information you're not able to get it and retrieve it. So in such cases, what we can do is we can use another chart called as area chart. Okay, so area chart also helps us in showing the trend. But in here, I'm very easily able to understand the peaks, highs, the peak lows, so that type of information directly. Okay, within the data. Okay, so for that we usually use the area chart. So area chart is this one. So let me show you the data for area chart. So I have this stock market data for Tata Motors from some specific period. Okay, so this is the date, this is the series. Then I can take any value, open, high, low, these type of values, and then I can plot it. Okay, so let me take it here. So this is my area chart. I take the Tata Motors data. So from here I take date in the axis, and I take open. So again, since I'm using the hierarchy, it will show me the straight line connecting the dots. But let me change it to something else. Let me add the date here. The moment you add date here, it will load it and now it will show you the patterns. Now, when you have huge amount of data, this actually makes sense because in case of line, if I plot the same thing for line, this is what you see, a line. Now in this line, if I ask you which is the highest peak that you have reached, which is the highest value that you have reached, it's very difficult to observe and it's very difficult to analyze. But same thing when you put it in an area chart, because of this peak. Okay, so what area chart does is it just highlights the area below the line. So because of that, you are clearly able to understand at what level you have reached the highest peak, at what level you have reached the lowest peak, like that. So that type of information you can very easily see here. Okay, so that is one of the reasons area chart is used. So whenever we talk about volume, the analysis of volume with respect to date, then area chart is a preferred choice. Okay, in here also the rest of the options remains the same. So you can add values, you can add secondary values, you can add small multiples also. So let me add open and let me add the close. So usually open, close, high, low, they are at the same range. So you can see this is how it is showing us the information. If I show the previous close also, yeah, so like this here you can see at what point it opened, at what point it closed. So you can plot your multiple values also with the help of this. Okay, so in here I can understand the data with respect to volumes. That is why I use the area chart. The rest of the options remains the same. Okay, the third visualization is your stack area chart. Stack area chart resembles what we have learned in our stacked column chart. So what was stack column chart? So in case of stack column chart, this was the stack column chart. What you were doing is you were taking this bar diagram, and in this bar diagram, if I plot sales and product, what it will do is it will plot sales, it will plot product, and then it will split it up, right? So let's take that. So in here, instead of sales, instead of product, let's take date here. Okay, and let's take profit, and let me change the hierarchy. So instead of two bars, I want date. Okay, so in this case each bar is plotted individually. Now when I add legend, this vertical bar gets split into multiple smaller sections within itself. So let me add the discount band. So for discount band I have high, medium, low and none. You can see this is how the information appears when you use the stacked chart. Now in case of stack, the values are stacked on top of each other, but it is shown in the form of bar diagram, right? If I want to show the same information like date, then the information, the profit, and with respect to discount band in this with respect to your line chart, then I have another option called as the stack area chart. So similar to your stack column chart, here the information is stacked on top of each other, but here instead of bars, the lines are drawn. Okay, for this has to be perfect. For that to work, you should take the proper data. So let me take units on. As you can see, this is very confusing. It is not showing the data properly. Yeah, for country, it is showing you the proper information. Yeah. So like this, what happens is if you don't add country, this is your date wise profit, how the profit is going. And the moment you add country, the one line gets split into multiple smaller lines like stack. And in here, the values are stacked on top of each other. That's why this is called a stack area chart. But as compared to your area chart, this is very confusing. So that is why usually this type of chart is not used. Okay, but yeah, if you want to use it, you can use it. Usually in case of metallurgical studies, this type of charts are used, because in case of their data, usually they do the soil analysis and then they prepare the report based on multiple layers. So if one layer is above other, then it makes sense to show that type of data. So in such cases, they use the stack area chart or stack column chart. Okay. Yeah. So that was the stack area chart. The next visualization that we will see is combo chart. So as Shreya mentioned, sometimes in reporting, we have a requirement where I want to show one value as in the form of line chart and other value in the form of bar diagram. So for that case, we have an option called as line and bar diagram. So line and bar diagram is usually used to show the related entity, where one entity is shown in the form of line, the other entity is obviously shown in the form of the bar. Okay, so in case of Power BI, we have two options to show that. So in here we have line and clustered column chart, and we have line and stacked column chart. So you know clustered column chart, you know stacked column chart, just that in this case one line is added, so one entity can be shown with respect to line. So this is your line and clustered chart where my cursor is. So I click on this. So in this case, I can show one value as line, the other value as stacked. Okay. So let's see line and clustered first. So this is my line and clustered. So in here, I take date. Okay. And then I take sales. So in this case, sales value is plotted in the form of bar diagram. Now let's say in the same diagram, I want to show the line. Okay. And I want to show the profit in the terms of lines with respect to this date. So in that case, I can add the profit. So let me take the profit and add it to the line value. So in this case, one value is shown in the form of bar diagram and another value is shown in the form of line. So that is why this is called as your line and bar diagram. Now this concept of line and cluster, this line and stack, it is in Power BI. But usually whenever we talk about line and bar diagram or combo chart, usually this is how it is used. One entity in the form of bar, the other entity in the form of line. That is how we usually use it. But let's say if I want to show line and clustered, I can also do that. For example, I have date, I have sales here. If I want to split this date and sales into multiple entities, I can use this column series. So let me add the discount band here. The moment I add the discount band, this bigger bar gets split into smaller bars, because if you remember, this is clustered chart. So you can see here multiple bars being plotted for the same data. So one single bar got splitted into multiple smaller bars. Okay, that is possible because we are using the clustered column chart. So in clustered column chart, one big bar got splitted into multiple smaller bars. And now within that multiple smaller bars, it is showing us the lined the profit in the form of this line. Okay, so this is your line and clustered column chart. Okay, and an alternate representation of same thing is your line and stack column chart. So in case of stack, what happens is the values are stacked on top of each other. So if I show you this, this is how you see the data. If I take line and stack, even there also everything will look same. Where does the difference come? When you add this series. So when I add this series, this value gets splitted on the y-axis. That's the only difference. So this is your stacked column chart, and just below, just in front of stacked column chart, you have a line. Okay, but this line and stacked and this line and cluster is not used this way. It is usually used in the form of line and bar chart. So you can choose any one of those. Okay, whenever it comes to showing the two entities, one in the form of number, the other in the form of bar. Okay, any questions? Okay, moving on. The next visualization that we will see is map. Okay, so in case of map, these are the visualizations that are given to us. So 1, 2, and 3. So the first is the Microsoft map visualization. In this, the map is provided by Microsoft. The second visualization is field map. So here, in case of field map, the entire uh, data point is filled with colors. And the third one is RGS map. So RGS map is a map provided by an organization called as ESRI. So RGS company or RGS maps are quite famous for their documentation and for their representation. Okay, so this is usually the paid one for enterprise, so that is not used. But yeah, these are the three map visualizations that we will see. Okay, so for that, let me load the data. Okay, so from here, let me select map, map. These three charts. Now, usually when you talk about map, what do we represent in map? We represent the known locations, usually cities, countries, places. Okay. Apart from that, what we also represent on map is the latitudes and longitudes. So there are two ways to represent the information over on the map. First is either use the known location, okay, which is known in the world. Second thing is your latitude and longitude. Okay, so latitude and longitude pairs are unique set of coordinates which are given to a specific location, and they are unique throughout the world. Okay, so in certain cases, if I want to show the representation in the form of map, then I can use either location or I can use the latitude and longitude pair. Okay, so let me show you the first one. So this is the map visualization which I have selected. So like I said, in map you can use either location or you can use the latitude and longitude pair. Only one of those should be used. When you use both of them, Power BI will give you an error. Another important thing is that you should have an access to the internet for the map to work. Otherwise, map will not work for you. Okay. Now in here, let me select something. So here I'm on the location, legend, latitude and longitude. So I'll go to map, and from map, let me select the place name. So this place name data is storing the different places of the countries. So the different cities of different countries are stored in this table. So if you see here, I have data for China, Egypt, India, Georgia, and Saudi. These are the place names, that means city names, and their respective latitude and longitude pairs are mentioned here. Okay, so for representation now, since place names or city names are also unique in the world, we can use this also. So let me take the place name from here and pull it into the location. The moment you pull this, and since it's a known location, it will connect to the internet and it will plot all the data points on the map, okay, as per their locations. Okay, so these are the different locations that you have used, that you have provided in your data, and based on that, it has plotted this data points. Okay, and I have one more thing called as legend. So let's say I want to display all the dots of each country in different colors, then I can add the legend. So for that, I can add the country in the legend field. So the moment you add country in the legend field, you can see the dots are represented with different colors. That is also possible. Okay, so this is one of the ways of representing the information. The same information can be represented with the help of latitude and longitude pair also. So let's say if this is my map, and in here, instead of place name, now I will take latitude and longitude. When you take latitude and longitude, by default, in your case, it will by default try to perform the average of latitude and average of longitude, and it will give you an error on the map saying the latitude and longitude pair doesn't work, set the aggregate to don't summarize. So what that means is, in order for latitude and longitude to work, you have to set the summarization to don't summarize. So for that, click on drop down here and select don't summarize. Always this is the checkbox, or this is the menu which should always be selected from the drop down. Okay, so from here also you can select longitude and you can select the don't summarize option. Okay, so this is your latitude and longitude. Now if I add country, it will represent the dots in different colors. Yeah. Okay, so these are the two representations of map. Apart from that, what I can do is I can represent the map in drill down structure also. So if you remember, we just saw drill down. So in case of drill down, what happens is when you click on one data point, the information is shown only for that specific data point also. Like that type of drill down can also be created. Okay, so for that, what I will do is I will first pull the country into my location. So for every country, you see one dot. So Egypt, Saudi, Georgia, India, China, these are the dots that you see. Now, when I click on India dot, I should see all the cities of India and so on. So for that, drag the place name and add it in the location column. Okay, so the moment you add this, you can see this drill down buttons. Okay, same options. So I'll just enable this drill down button. And when you enable this drill down button, what happens now is when I click on India, see what happens. It will only show me the cities of India. Okay, so like that also you can design with the help of map visualization. So this is possible because of the drill down. So if I click on China now, I will see the information with respect to China. Okay, all the cities of China are displayed. All the places of China are actually displayed. Okay, this is also one of the representation, and one more representation is in the form of bubbles. So what is this bubble? So in case of the map, you can also show certain information in the form of bubbles. So let's say I want to show the sales, the country wise sales on the map. So I can show that also. So for that, let me take this financials data. I will drag the country to location, and in here below we have a size field. So in the size field, I will drag sales. So whichever country has done higher sales, that bubble size is higher, and whichever country has done lower sales, that bubble size is lower. So you can see Mexico bubble size, United States bubble size, Canada, the France and Germany. If you want to increase this bubble size, you can go to format option. Okay, and from the format option you can control it. Okay, so in the format option you can see this bubbles. So from here you can increase the size of the bubble. So let me increase the size of the bubble. Yeah, you can see the size of the bubble has increased. Okay, and if you want to show a pie chart like representation, that is also possible. For example, I have country, I have sales. Let's say I want to show the product by sales. So drag the product to the legend. So when you drag the product to the legend, the same bubble is now appearing in the form of pie chart. So within this bubble, you can see a pie chart also. But of course, here I cannot add any labels. I will just see the information. Okay. So this is also one of the representations. Okay, in case of map, you can change this map also. Okay, usually if people want the aerial view or some other views, they can also get that. For example, to get that aerial view, click on the map here, go to format, and here you will have an option called as map style. So when you click on this map style, you can see the default theme is road, but let's say if you want grayscale, so you can select grayscale, map changes. If you want light, you can select light. If you want dark, you can select dark. Okay, and if you want aerial, you can also select aerial. Okay, this is also possible. Okay, apart from that, if you want zoom in zoom out buttons on your map, you can go to map controls and you can add the zoom buttons. So automatically the zoom buttons would be added. Okay, so you can see zoom and zoom out buttons on this side and you can use them. That is also possible. Okay, so this was your map. Any questions in the map? Okay, moving on. So the next visualization that we will see is the ArcGIS map. Now ArcGIS map is exactly similar to your uh, Microsoft Maps, but usually the Microsoft Maps are free because it's a Microsoft Power BI tool. But this ArcGIS map that you see here, they are paid. So they are provided by an organization called as ESRI. So you can see there are two versions for ArcGIS. One is ArcGIS Online. The second is ArcGIS Enterprise. So this Enterprise edition is for what they usually charge. Okay. So if you are an organization, then you will have to eventually pay for the maps that their ArcGIS or ESRI organization is going to provide you. But for personal use, they are usually free. Okay, so let me take the same thing. So here also same concept applies, either provide location or provide latitude, longitude. In here I have size, so the size we have already seen in maps, and instead of legend here I have color. So you can use color to use it as legend. So let me show you that. So this is my ArcGIS data. So from here I will select place name in the location. So when you select place name, it will connect to the internet, and from there it will try to get the places. This map usually takes time to load. Okay. You can see all the dots are plotted in the form of the usually bubbles. Okay, and if I want different colors, I can go to this color tab, and from here I can add the country. So let me add the country here. Everything will be shown in the different color. In the earlier Power BI versions, this used to work quite fast, but nowadays I don't know what has happened. This ArcGIS map takes a lot of time to load. That is why nowadays very less number of people are actually using it. Okay, but one good advantage that you get in ArcGIS map is the maps. So in here, if I want, I can load specific country maps also. Okay, for example, here in the location type, if you want, as of now we have loaded the world data, but if you want to load any specific country map, you can also load that. Okay, with the help of this ArcGIS. But like I said, nowadays it is taking a lot much amount of time to actually load it. Okay, so you can see it is still taking time to load the India map. Okay, that is why it is a bit slow, but yeah, if you want to use it for free of course, then map is the better option. Exactly similar to your place name, you can also add latitude and longitude. So just add latitude and longitude here. So you can see this is the error that I was talking about. The latitude bucket doesn't support measures or aggregated numbers. So you will get this error whenever you pull the latitude and longitude. So for that, change the summarization to don't summarize. So I'll select this to don't summarize. and select this to don't summarize. So when you select this latitude and longitude, now it works. Okay, again, it is taking time to load. Meanwhile, any questions on the maps, RGS map and the map? Okay, the next map that we are going to see is called as field map. So field map is something which we have used a lot in our school days. We remember this. Okay, so what we used to do in our school days is we just used to fill the map with different colors, the different places and so on. That's what your field map does. So for field map, I have this map data with me. So in this case, I have the countries and their respective categories in for which they are famous. So if I take this field map, okay, so in field map also I can provide location, latitude, longitude, or the legend. These are the only fields possible. So let me take the country. So from the map, I just take country here. So all the countries will be plotted and they all will be filled with a certain specific color. So you can see all the countries are plotted and they are shown with respect to this blue color, right? But the moment I add this category, the color blue changes to different legend values. As you can see, it is plotting the entire day. It is coloring the entire country with that specific color. And based on that, it is showing you the relevant information. Any questions in this, guys?
Can we differentiate states with this option?
You can do that. You should have the known data. If Microsoft, this map is provided by Microsoft, by the way, TomTom organization. So in that TomTom organization map is if your states are identified, then of course you can show that with respective colors. That is also possible.
Okay.
Yeah. So that is how you can.
And if I want to differentiate regions like just like India's south, east, northwest region, I want to select
No.
5 states for different color,
See, no, that is not possible, because the south, east, west region is something that we have created. That is something which is never detected on the map. For this to work, you should have a location which can be detected. If I put India south or South India in the map in Google also, it will not show me like which India. But if I put a state, if I put a city, it can identify, right? So those type of things, latitude, longitude, pair related things can be identified. India south, India west is something that we are creating, not something which is already created.
Okay, but can we create it by manually?
No. Map works automatically. Okay, so in here I cannot create the manual thing. Even if I create latitude, longitude pair for India south, India west, it will just show a dot. It will not color it like this.
Okay.
Yeah. So this was your map. Okay, so maps are also done. Okay. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll stop here because we have done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then 6, 7, 8, 8 visualizations. Yeah, that is fine. So by tomorrow we should be able to wrap the visualization part, which we'll try to wrap it. Okay, so this was the second session on the visualization, where we have covered line charts, area charts, stack area, combo charts. Then we have seen the 3 types of maps. Okay, so what we can do now is we can start working